Yo. What's up, man? What's good? What's good, everybody? What's good, everybody? You know, Friday, 12/29. So, uh, I'm gonna just say happy holidays to everybody. Even from whether you celebrate Christmas or whatever it is that you celebrate, happy holidays to that, and then happy New Year to everybody because this is probably the last video I'm gonna record before the New Year, of course. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say happy New Year to everybody as well, man. Um, this one isn't gonna be too long, man. This is gonna be a pretty quick one. As y'all can see, man, I'm by myself. It's just boom bam today. It's going for the gusto. Um, you know, all of the rest of the squad, they all were friends and family. I hope everybody enjoying. If you got your time off of work and all of that stuff, man. So, that'll be that's dope. For those that did have to work, like me, I had to work today. But it was a half day, so I got it in, got it done. Now I'm back on the pod with everybody. So, um, I saw that the other day, the 2024 Pro Football Hall of Fame finalists came out. As y'all know, for the ones that been with the channel for a while, every time this is released every year, I get on here and talk about it because it's the Hall of Fame, man. It's probably outside of winning the big dance, the Super Bowl. This is the most prestigious thing. Well, the Super Bowl is the biggest team thing, but the most prestigious thing you can get as a football player individually is the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So I'm gonna just share my screen, man, and just we can just run through all the finalists and just I'll give y'all my thoughts on certain people here and there. I might do a couple of quick lookups if I'm not super familiar with the person's career, just kind of how everything went. So let's hop right in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and share this thing so y'all can see it with me. All right. So I'm gonna get that some time to rock out real quick. I don't know why this thing is taking longer than usual. All right, boom, there we go. So there it is, man. So it as it says Wednesday, um this they came out on Wednesday, 2024 Modern Era Player Finalists with their positions, years, and teams as announced on NFL Network. So as y'all can tell, I'm on NFL Network. So we can start there and kind of go through first person up there, Eric Allen. Eric Allen is a player I am familiar with, but I can't really tell you much of his stats. So I'm going to look up a little bit about him real quick. Let's see what it says. Six time Pro Bowler. Um, Looks like he was all first team All Pro once, second team All Pro twice. Um, wow, looks like he finished his career with 54 interceptions, which is that's legit. Can't be mad at that at all. Um, I think I was familiar with him when he played with the Raiders, which is towards the end of his career. As y'all can see, well, y'all probably can't see this, but he started in 1988 and played all the way to 2001. So looks like he had a pretty solid career. So shout out to him. And we'll keep it going. So next person on the list is my boy Jared Allen, who I am familiar with. Jared Allen is my guy. He has one of the best celebrations from getting a sack. He used to do the like rock and roll guitar thing where he would do the little rock and roll every time he would get a sack, man. Shout out to Jared Allen. I definitely think it's well deserving. Um, Looks like he ended his career with 136 sacks. That's a great career. If I'm trying to remember, I'm gonna have to look it up. Yeah, so he was one of the only people to get over 20 sacks in the season. He had 22 sacks in one season, which is crazy. And he did it all the way back in 2011 before the league became super duper pass happy. So man, yeah, shout out to Jared Allen. I definitely hope he makes it because he's a guy that I'm a big fan of. Big fan of Jared Allen. Um, Willie Anderson, offensive tackle for the Bengals. I definitely remember him. Um, he was a good player. If I remember, he didn't play too many years. It says right here he played from '96 to 2008. Well, that's 12 years. That's pretty good. Can't be mad at that. Um, he is a three-time All Pro, two-time second team All Pro. Um, right tackle. Played for Cincy for years. Looked like he was a staple there, man. So shout out to him. Um, shout out to him. Let's keep going. Um, Jari Evans used to play for the Saints. Yeah, he was on that Super Bowl team with the Saints. Um, uh, was a solid player. He was there for a long time. Yep, I remember him. Yeah, he's a nice player. Inside guard. Um, 5-team All Pro guy. Is a guy that been there a while, man. So shout out to him. I think I would like to see him in the Hall of Fame. Um, looks like he was a day one starter since the year they drafted him, and he started every game he played in. So that's what was impressive for offensive lineman. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He went 7 years before he missed a game. Played 16 out of 16 games his first 7 years. And consistency on the O line is something that's super important. So we get this thing rocking. Oh Lord, my main guy right here, man. Mister, I'm gonna hit you with that spin coming off the edge. And if you're not ready, Mister, if you can't, if my body if my body is um at that 45-degree angle because I'm bending that thing all the way down there and then I'm spinning it back. Yeah, man, Dwight Freeney, man. Shout out to Dwight Freeney, man. Dwight Freeney, man. Him, him and Robin Mathis, they held it down for the Colts for a long time, man. For a long time. Consistent player, played a lot of years in the league, but well known for being with Indy. Um, like stapling that Indy defense, man. They won the Super Bowl. That was Peyton's only Super Bowl in Indy. Um, yeah, man, just a consistent player, man. His best season was 16 sacks. But he was consistently getting over 10 sacks a season. Kind of hopped around a lot towards the end of his career, but goes to show, man, playing all the way until you're 37, that means, you kept your body in shape. And so, you slowly start stacking up the numbers on top of that, right? You add those little 5-sack seasons and 8-sack seasons, and then it just ups your numbers. So finished the career with 125. You know, he probably wouldn't get in. He probably wouldn't get in before Jared Allen. Because Jared Allen is probably more deserving of that. But yeah, man, staple. Let's keep pushing. Oh man, big play Gates, man. Antonio Gates. This should be a no brainer for them. Antonio Gates easily one of the top 5 tight ends, probably. If not top 5, top 10 tight ends of all time, easily. He been a staple in this league. When you think of having a good tight end, a prototypical tight end, you would want and Antonio Gates. Was a basketball player transforming to tight end. Y'all know how that works. A lot of the great tight ends with basketball players. That's how they know how to box out in the red zone. They know how to high point the ball, and that also leads to them having good hands a lot of times. Most of them got big hands, but Antonio Gates should be a no brainer as a tight end. Over 11,000 yards receiving as a tight end, no brainer, man. He should definitely be in there. Um, Shout to him. Ooh, Rodney Harrison. Now that's a interesting one. Rodney Harrison was a big boy hitter, man. I'm talking about a tractor trailer. You went into New England knowing like, hey, let me figure out where Rodney at on the field, because if I get hit by that, like that's gonna be something serious. Um, 34 interceptions, okay, but he was more of he was more of the strong safety. So, he only got 2 Pro Bowls and 2 All-Pros, but he was a consistent starter in the league. Been in it, like he's a guy you can depend on. He was a leader for that team. The Super Bowls that they won in New England. You could attribute that to him. Like kind of leading that defense. He was, one of the names we think of when we think of that defense. Like, we think of Ty Long, Lawyer Malloy, and Vince Wilfork and Richard Seymour. Like, he was one of those guys. Whenever Brady was becoming Brady and he wasn't Brady just yet, he could always depend on those guys defensively, man, to hold it down and shut it down. So I I wonder if this is his first time being eligible, because it's probably not. They probably kicked the can down the road on him a couple of times. I ain't gonna lie, that's probably gonna be my guess. I don't think, you know, I don't think he's a no brainer at all, but was a really good player. The Hall should be for those elites. So it might be the same thing with Dwight Freeney. Was he an elite? We see Devin Hester. That's a no brainer. Best kick returner, punt returner ever. Best special teamers ever. Not including kickers. That best kicker ever, Justin Tucker, for the Baltimore Ravens right now. Outside of that, Devin Hester, man, there's nothing else to be said about him, man. Just electrifying watching him play, man. Like Devin Hester made for all y'all Madden players, that watch the channel. Devin Hester, made it cool. Like, people will pick the Bears just to just to do punt return and kick return with Devin Hester, just to see if you can run it back with him. Like, that's what he was. And we also seen him. Obviously, he's going in for a special teams, but we seen him line up at running back and wide receiver. We seen teams use him. Just an explosive guy, man. Like, he was a walking highlight. I I don't know how he got denied the first time. I think if they deny him again, it's just because the Hall is saying they don't they don't appreciate special teams, and we know if you play football, we know it's 3 parts of a game. We see how even when that Super Bowl that they lost to the Colts. That same Super Bowl, we saw them has to run the kick return back on the first play. We know how that can change a game. We saw the Ravens beat the 49ers, and Jacoby Jones had run back a kick return, and people don't think about it, but after San Fran came back, that they won, the Ravens won by 7. See what I'm saying? So it was special teams. That's a part of the game. Bad special teams can lead to other teams blowing you out. We not seen it. Like, fumbled punts, what I'm saying, block kicks, that can change the whole momentum of a game. So we gotta give some credit there, and I think this is a no-brainer. Should have been first ballot. Devin Hester, Mr. I'm taking it to the residents, Mr. Go run and hit your head on the goalpost. Devin Hester. But now we got my boy, part of the greatest show on turf, Torry Holt. Man, Torry Holt, Torry Holt is a tough one. I don't know if he should be a no-brainer, but he was on the all 2000s team, rightfully so, man. That greatest show on turf team was crazy. He went for 1,600 yards that season. It was ridiculous, man. Um, like let's be real. 1,300 receiving yards. Yeah, I gotta say this is a no brainer. 1,300 receiving yards for his career. 74 receiving touchdowns. Went for 1,600 yards twice, almost 1,700 yards. And keep in mind, y'all, this is the early 2000s. We got to take that into account. You can't look at 2023 and say, man, a bunch of receivers go for 1,300 yards. In the early 2000s, it was still teams trying to run the ball and establish the run. So we got to remember that. And he had Isaac Bruce on the other side of him. Plus, they had Marshall Faulk in the backfield. So you got other great players that can take the ball away from you, right? Because other people you got other great players. So I think Torrey Holt might be a slam dunk. I think they should do that. And I see that the Hall of Fame is getting better with letting receivers in earlier. So I think Torrey Holt, man, I think he deserves the nod to get in. Probably not first ballot, but definitely this is probably not his first time trying to get in. So he should be in there. Andre Johnson. My God, I love Andre Johnson. Just so that y'all know, as a player, Andre Johnson, man, I always just appreciated him. I always felt like he was never inside great situations as a receiver, but we got to look at the numbers don't lie at the end of the day, man. He was in Houston for a long time, never really had a consistent quarterback. Went over 1,500 yards 3 times. 1,400 yards twice. He got over 14,000 receiving yards, 70 touchdowns. Was an All Pro a couple of times, 7-time Pro Bowler. I think he's one of the ones that's on the cups, but I think they should ultimately give it to him based on what the receiving standards are. I think once you pass 13,000 yards, you start to get in that conversation. When you hit 14,000 yards, I think at that point you should be in. If you're a 15,000 yard guy, you should be in first ballot. All right, let's keep it going. Julius Peppers, bro. Julius Peppers was a beast. Julius Peppers was a game changing player, man. Like, we just gonna keep it straight up. Like Julius Peppers gotta be in. Let me see. Julius Peppers got 159 sacks for his career. Like Julius Peppers was just a guy that he never blew the game up all the time. Like you never was like, dang, Julius Peppers got 18 sacks on the season. It was never that, but he was just always consistent. Consistently a good pass rusher, consistently a good run stopper. Like the man has 175 tackles for loss for his career. 175 tackles for loss. You know what I'm saying? Like he was a game wrecker, a game changer. He was always just consistent. He was consistently getting it in, getting it in, getting it in. And the way to be great is to consistently be good. And that's why we all think of Julius Peppers the way we do, because he was a consistent guy, kept himself in shape, played a lot of years in the league. Got to go back to Carolina to retire. I know we all love that he got to go back to, going back to Carolina to retire, because that's where he started off at. That's where he made his name, man. So Julius Peppers, I think, over for his whole body of work, he should get it. My main man, Fred. See, now Fred Taylor has been a topic of discussion for a long time. I think at this point they need to let Fred in, strictly because 11,000 rushing yards. That's the thing. But I think Fred Taylor was really, really good for a long time, but he was in the league with a bunch of great backs. And he already did. Y'all done kicked his name down the road enough times. Pro Football Hall of Fame, that I think, depending on who y'all let in next, because you gotta think about it. Terrell Davis is in the Hall of Fame, and I know what y'all about to say, man, Rick, bro, you tripping, bro? Yeah, Terrell Davis is in the Hall, but Terrell Davis, just for comparison, let's pull up Terrell Davis stats real quick. Now, we know Terrell Davis had the 2,000 yard rushing seasons, right? Which is, You can't take that away from him. He deserved it, right? He had a 3-year run that was like no other. He went 1,500 yards, 1,700. He had 1,500 yards, 13 touchdowns, 1,700 yards, 15 touchdowns, 2,000 yards, 21 touchdowns. And the Broncos won the Super Bowl two of those years. And then after that, he didn't play more than 8 games a season for the rest of his career and retired in 2001. Now, the Pro Football Hall of Fame got to decide. They got to sit there, look themselves in the mirror, and say, okay, is it about how great your peak for a small window of time, or was it being consistent for a long period of time? Me, I tend to like to say, if you played 10 years and you were great for 5 to 7 of those years, you should get in. But I also think if you played 14, 15 years, like a Larry Fitzgerald, and never was the clear-cut best player at your position in the league, but was always considered in the top 7, you should also get in. So I think it has to be a mixture of both. I think Terrell Davis' career was just too short because he had 3 good years. If he had 5 good years and didn't add anything to that, I might say, you in. But since he already in, now you gotta reshape how you think about it, right? So now you might say to yourself, well, Fred, from that standpoint, Fred finished his career with 4,000 more rushing yards than him. So I'm gonna leave that for y'all. Y'all let me know in the comments if y'all think he should get in. Reggie Wayne. So I think for Reggie Wayne, because Marvin Harrison is already in, I think that's what made it tough on Reggie Wayne. Because you got Marvin Harrison already in, right? We know when they played together, we know that Marvin was the better of the 2 receivers. Marvin was the number 1, Reggie was the number 2. But when Marvin wasn't there or Marvin was hurt, we saw Reggie easily step up into that number 1 role. So he's another guy. Was he ever the best person at his position in the league? No. But he did it for 14 years consistently. And now he done accumulated over 14,000 receiving yards. So now you just now that's where the conundrum comes in at. Now you gotta look at it and think to yourself, how do we want to go about this? My guy, Patrick Willis, I think Patrick Willis is a no-brainer first ballot. I need to go in there right now. When you think of the middle backup position, say these are the people that played middle backup. So this is the thing about Patrick Willis that everybody has to understand. Patrick Willis played 8 years in the league. Now this goes back to my point, right? Okay, 8 years in the league. That's not too long, but it ain't too short. Out of the 8 years in the league, Patrick Willis made the Pro Bowl 7 out of those 8 years. Right? From rookie all the way to the year before his final year, he was a Pro Bowler. He was first team All-Pro 5 times. And then the other 2 times he was not first team All-Pro, he was second team All-Pro. So the only year Patrick Willis did not make the Pro Bowl or be an All-Pro in the league was the year he retired. Because he had super duper bad foot problems. So what that tells me is, throughout his time in the league, from 2007 to 2013, he was the best backer in the league. The only you can say, because when you think about it, you had Brian Urlacher, who was kind of towards the end. You had Ray Lewis, who some people still thought was the best, but we know that wasn't prime Ray. That wasn't 2000 Ravens Ray Lewis. When we got around 2012, we started seeing the injuries build up, but he was still, of course, one of the best, because Ray Lewis is probably the best middle backer ever. So don't get me wrong. But pound for pound, then Luke Kuechly came in towards the end of that run. But pound for pound, his time in the league, Patrick Willis was unquestionably a top 3 backer from the day he stepped foot in the NFL. Not like, oh, he got better down the road. From the day he stepped foot in the NFL, I think that's first ballot. If the pro football if pro football don't like it, tell them they can call me. Tell them I answer the phone. Tell them we call Boom Bam and let Boom Bam explain to them what they don't seem to understand. And so this the last one is Darren Woodson for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Darren Woodson is a guy I'm familiar with because I am a Washington fan, and we've had to play against Darren Woodson, and I've seen the film before I was born with Darren Woodson on the field, and so I'm familiar with Darren Woodson. Darren Woodson was a great safety. He was consistent. He was 5-time Pro Bowler. He was a 3-time All Pro. He was a part of those Dallas teams that went to the Super Bowl and won. He contributed. You really don't got nothing bad to say about him. Was he ever the best at his position? I mean, you can make the argument that, some people thought at that time he was one of the new age safeties that you can use, a tough tackler, tough finals guy. But yeah, I mean, I think Darren Woodson had a solid career. I think the Super Bowls definitely help for him and Rodney Harrison. It helps having the Super Bowls, and also being on historic defenses. Defenses that we think of when we think of historic defenses. So I think that plays inside his favor. So let's see what else they got to say on this. So, and 173 nominees. They trimmed it down to 25. So it's 173 people where they start off at, trimmed it down to 25 people. Yeah, and so all right, so it's 25 semi-finalists, right? So it's 25 semi-finalists, and then I think so now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it's 14 finalists out of the semi-finalists. So that's how that works. So essentially what they do is they nominate a bunch of people, they trim it all the way down to the semifinals, then they trim it down to the finalists. After the finalists, then they actually announce these are the players who are going to be inducted into the Hall. So it's probably going to be, since it's 14 finalists, it's probably going to be like 6 to 8 of them that actually get in. And then the rest of the people, you got to kick the can down the road again, man. So like I said, man, this was just a quick video. I mean, I kind of rambled on a little long. Y'all know I tend to do that from time to time. But yeah, this is just a video. Just talking about the finalists, man. Like I said, like the Pro Football Hall of Fame is the ultimate honor. And so I think the players that get in need to be well deserved. So when you walk around with that gold jacket and you get that bust, like that picture in your head, and it's like, yo, I'm one of the people that I played the game at such a high level that I'm going to be known for the rest of my life and from the time I'm gone off this earth that I was one of the best football players. I'm in Canton, Ohio. So, like I said, man, y'all like, comment, share, subscribe, man. Y'all tune into all our stuff. Y'all please hop in the Discord, man. We're in there talking about stuff all the time. Y'all hop on the Facebook, the Instagram, the Spotify. Like if you're in the car, you're driving, you're like, man, I can't really see the YouTube, or I don't really be on YouTube too much. Check us out on Spotify, man. Like, I know it's holiday time. Y'all, if you got a 3-hour to 5-hour ride, you can catch about 3 or 4 episodes. Just let them things play on through, man. So we just appreciate y'all for tuning in. Man, be sure to just put y'all thoughts in the comment section. Be players that y'all think should have been a finalist that didn't get it, players that you saw on the list that you think I'm wrong and then they should be in, regardless of what I gotta say, man. Y'all just let us know, man. So we appreciate y'all, man, and happy holidays. Peace.